Hi, everyone. It's Pastor Matt. This is episode 7 of season 1 of The Chosen. It's called Invitations. Let's watch.
Joshua, how many more in the night?
Some 300, sir.
Where will you bury them?
Men are trying to dig a trench, but the ground is hard and rocky. With respect, Moses, my concern is not for the dead, but for the dying. Hundreds fall by the day, and for every serpent we kill, another 10 appear.
Maybe we should leave the bodies here, in this tent.
At the rate people are dying, there would not be enough room, even if we stack them to the top.
Then we'll have to leave and find someplace else.
I'm not leaving anytime soon. Too many people are sick and cannot walk.
After today, the only Hebrews too sick to walk will be those who choose to remain so.
Is there medicine in that bronze? You told the people that you would ask God to forgive their rebellion, to heal their serpent wounds.
I did.
Then why are you hiding in a tent?
It wasn't my idea, Joshua!
That is a pagan symbol. You did not ask him if he was sure? Maybe you misunderstood him.
I've learned to do what he says, without questioning. You remember what happened at Meribah.
Just to be sure, we could send a messenger to Ezion Gate or beg for aid.
That pole. Hand me that pole.
The people will say it is a cruel joke.
Let them say that.
Help me understand. None of this makes any sense.
How do you explain the Red Sea? The manna in the coil? The pillar of fire? Joshua, any Israelite who looks upon this bronze serpent and believes in the power of Adonai will be healed. It's an act of faith, not reason. Faith.
So, just so that we are understanding, there's so much to unpack here, and I'll try to do it in as succinct a way as possible. So this is one of those seeming contradictions in the Bible where God says, don't make a graven image. And then God says, make a graven image. First of all, and if you're new to this, to our congregation, or if you're finding this online and you're, not a part of our congregation, let me just give you a little bit of background. So I'm the senior pastor at a Christian church, but I practice and study a form of faith in Jesus called Messianic Judaism. So the background that I'm going to give you on this is going to be that which comes from a Jewish understanding of what's going on. So first of all, when the Bible talks about these serpents that God sent into the camp, it describes them in the Hebrew of the Torah as Nachashim Saraphim, as fiery serpents. Now, as you even hear that, Seraphim, in English, we have anglicized this pronunciation. You will know of these different classifications of angelic beings: cherubim, seraphim, cheruvim, seraphim. The seraphim, there is a fiery element to these angels. And so when it talks about them being serpents, they are serpents that have something to do with fire. Now, there are some commentators that say, does that mean that their bite burned, burned like fire? Or are these serpents that are being sent in something more than just something from the animal kingdom? Is there an angelic component to this? Is there a reason that the word seraphim is used? It's a good question, and it probably needs to be unpacked, and we probably don't have time to do that fully here. But I will say that the seeming contradiction of don't make a graven image and then make a graven image and have the people look to this graven image, obviously this is, and I try to remind people of this every time I do a review of The Chosen, and that is, if you haven't watched this episode, do it now before you watch the rest of this, or it's just going to be completely spoiled. So go ahead and pause now, go watch The Chosen, and come back. But anyway, this is foreshadowing. The reason that this open of this episode is this is foreshadowing a discussion that Nicodemus is going to have with Yeshua, with Jesus. And he's going to talk about, Jesus is going to mention in John 3 about the snake being raised up on the pole. Now, I'm just going to go into it and not worry about if it offends anyone or whatever, but I'll just go into it. So, the people are looking to this symbol of the serpent, but it's almost like it is something for them to look through or look past. It's something for them to focus on, but it's not the snake that's doing the healing. When Jesus says that just like Moses lifted up the snake, the serpent in the wilderness on the pole, so the Son of Man must be lifted up. He makes a one-to-one comparison of the Messiah and the serpent. Just as the Messiah is lifted up, it was the same way with Moses lifting up the serpent. Well, as we've learned in Yeshiva, the word for serpent or snake in Hebrew is nachash. And the reason that is significant is every Hebrew letter has a numerical value. And if you add up the numerical value of each of the letters of the word nachash, you get 358. It just also happens that what is also 358 is Moshiach, Messiah. So the reason that, and it would be a very Jewish argument to say, so because the words serpent and Messiah are equal in this numbering system in Judaism called gematria, since they have the same gematria value, Judaism teaches us that their words that have the same numeric value can give a clue to one another. So it would be a very Jewish thing. It might not be a very Christian thing, but it would be a very Jewish thing to say, okay, Nachash, serpent, is 358, so is Messiah. So who is really healing the people in the desert? Is it the serpent? No, that's silly. It's a bronze snake. But we could say that it is something for the people to focus on as a foreshadowing, and it is really the Messiah that is doing the healing of these snakes. That's a very Jewish thing to say. Now, here's where I say I don't want to offend anyone. Joshua, of course, in the script, is nervous about Moses using a symbol of an animal, because you're not supposed to make a symbol of an animal. That's a graven image. And so he's concerned about it. Now, the people do look to this serpent and they are healed. However, eventually the people begin to revere the image of the serpent, and it needs to be destroyed. It needs to be broken up in pieces and destroyed. So I honestly feel like we need to be careful in Christianity about idolizing the cross. That, I know, sounds like a crazy statement to make, and it might even sound heretical to some Christians, but let me explain. The cross is not what saves you. It's not. The cross is not what saves you. What was done on the cross by the one who was on the cross through the will of the one who sent him to the cross, that act is what can save you if it is applied to your life by you putting your faith into it. So, do you know what I mean? It's the action of what we call in Judaism the Mesirut Nefesh, the laying down of one's life, the laying down of Jesus' life, him giving his life willingly, and him coming back to life. It is those actions that hold within them our salvation. It is not the instrument on which he was killed. The cross, unfortunately, can become a symbol that turns into something that it should not be. And what I mean by that is, for a lot of people, it becomes a talisman, a good luck charm, an amulet of some kind. For people that are on the outskirts of faith, it could almost be like, well, if I wear this thing, it will protect me. That's not the purpose of it. There's nothing wrong with having a reminder of what was done for you. And I think a lot of people can put stock in symbols. I wear a Magen David. I wear a Star of David. I don't put stock or faith in that as some sort of charm. Neither should we put that sort of faith into a cross. It can become problematic. I honestly believe that a cross can become like this snake, that we can come to worship the cross or depend on the cross as a symbol rather than the sacrificial death that happened upon it. And I think that's dangerous. So it's a discussion that we need to have. So anyway, that's my general feeling on this. We shall continue on, and because of this sort of long opening rant, we will, for reasons of time and good form, we'll skip through. I've told you before, but just to remind you, I had the opportunity to work with Paras Patel in the recording studio, recording a couple of lines for a season 2 episode or a couple season 2 episodes of dialogue, and just to show you what a great actor he is. He is nothing like this. He is so calm and peaceful and not frenetic. So what a wonderful acting job he does.
Ayas, why are you here?
I'm escorting you.
Because you feel indebted for your promotion.
You're complaining about safely walking the streets?
I didn't help Quintus for you.
Oh, I know. You couldn't help yourself.
I spoke up because I was right.
You got lucky.
Luck doesn't exist.
So you knew Quintus would not kill you.
He was smart to go after the fisherman, but he must have been desperate to enlist Simon.
I don't buy it. You were terrified.
Guys, what if you were suddenly the only Roman in Capernaum?
I think I'd change clothes.
Exactly. When you realize that nobody else in the world cares what happens to you, you think only about yourself.
For a fool, your brain has taken you far. I admit it.
I thought so, too.
Praise Adonai, he is healthy and alive.
What are you talking
I
about?
received word from Jerusalem. Havela gave birth to a son. You are grandfather again.
So soon?
A month early, but all is well. Oh, blessed be he. We'll have the rest of our things sent.
No. My research here is not completed.
But we have to make it back in time for the bris. We have only 8 days, less than 8.
Circumcision can be performed by any number of people, Zohara.
Nico, this is your own grandson.
Fifth grandson. Havila will understand.
Do you know what people will say when they learn that the great Nicodemus missed his own grandson's name day because he was doing research in Capernaum, of all places?
Research that concerns not just one Jewish boy.
This is so good. It's so good. Yes, of course. So the bris. This is how we say it in sort of Ashkenazi Hebrew. We would say in the Sephardic tradition, it would be called a brit or a brit. This is the brit milah. The word brit or bris means covenant. And so this is the covenant of circumcision. And yes, a Jewish boy is given his name on the 8th day, and still done to this day. Pretty cool.
All of Israel, past, present, and future.
There is nothing in Capernaum but demoniacs and insolent schoolboys. Come to your senses.
I have never been closer to my senses.
That is not how it looks from the outside.
Many things are not.
I am ready to leave this place, Nico. I miss my children and my grandchildren, including the one I haven't even met yet.
Oh, Zohara, please. You can't just barge.
Oh, I believe I can.
Praetor Quintus.
Zohara, is it? Pleasure to see you again.
I trust all is well.
Why would you trust that?
Oh, yes, please do make yourself at home.
We really will have to discuss the people's tithing.
This is why you have come?
I need to know if we have a problem, Nicodemus.
I have complied with every request Rome has made to my office, even when it infringed on custom.
Let me rephrase. You and I want the same thing. We want rules followed. We want order. Soldiers, money, votes, that's my world. Demons, prayers, oddballs, that's yours. I need to know if our worlds are on a collision course. The so-called miracle worker?
Jesus of Nazareth.
Don't even know what Nazareth is, but yes, him.
Anecdotes and rumors.
And a stampede in the eastern ghetto that delayed Herod's envoy. That really made me look bad. I hate that.
The unrest began when your soldiers waded into the crowd brandishing weapons.
It isn't an isolated event. I've heard reports. My source has an unwavering knack for accuracy and a compulsion for the truth. So again, I ask you, is there a problem?
No.
You don't seem sure. Maybe I could get better information from this Shmuel. He's very eager to see me.
The only way to learn this preacher's intentions is to speak with him directly.
So speak to him. I hate crowds. They take time and resources, and then cleanup is a pain. When you arrange a private meeting, I want to know when and where. Understand?
What troubles you about this man?
Preachers have a habit of becoming politicians. They sprout up like weeds and spread. My wife is a gardener. She understands.
Some flora spread their seeds when trampled. Who's to say you wouldn't be creating a martyr?
I'll take my chances.
You sympathize with this preacher.
Will we be safe here?
What do you mean, safe?
They'll be looking for us because of what you said about forgiving sins.
We won't be here very long. After what happened yesterday, we'll keep moving from town to town.
Is that what you want?
What do you mean?
To roam about, not able to stay in one place?
I want to do the will of my Father. And I want to spread the message of salvation. So yes, I am happy to not stay in one place.
Rabbi,
Yes, Dad.
I should prepare firewood for how many days?
5, I think.
Thought you said that we wouldn't be here very long.
Leaving some for the next weary traveler. Hospitality isn't only for people who own homes, John.
Huge. I can't tell you how huge. So as I'm recording this happens to be on a Saturday, and today's Torah portion, every Genesis through Deuteronomy is divided into 54 weekly portions. Some weeks you have a double portion, which is why there are 54 and there are 52 weeks in the year. Anyway, this week's Torah portion is called Vayera, and it is about Abraham showing hospitality to 3 visitors that he realizes are angelic. And this idea in Judaism of showing hospitality, it's huge. It's a big part of Jewish practice. It's known as Hachnasat Orchim, the welcoming of guests. And when you are hosting a guest, when you are showing hospitality to someone, it is said that it is higher than you hosting the presence of God himself. That when you show hospitality, it's awesome. And when Abraham shows hospitality to the heavenly visitors, it says that as they're eating, he, has a meal prepared for them. And as they're eating, the angels are sitting and he is standing. And so in Judaism, the idea is when you are showing hospitality to strangers, you are even higher than the angels because Abraham is standing over the angels. So this is very at home within Judaism. It is said that Abraham's tent was not open on one side like a common tent, but he had openings on all four sides so that he could see travelers coming from every direction so that he could run and show them hospitality.
Mary?
Are you all right?
Me, yes, thank you. May I speak with you, Rabbi?
Yes, of course. Keep going.
I wanted to apologize for yesterday.
For what?
I was trying to help those people get closer to the sound of your voice. I had no idea they would open the roof and disrupt your teaching. I'm truly...
So you regret that a paralytic is enjoying his first full day on his own feet, huh?
No, just that I caused the scene and cut short your teaching.
Who's to say it was cut short? With their faith, they would have found a way whether you brought them to the roof or not.
Oh, there's more. When we were leaving, a Pharisee stopped me and asked for a private meeting with you. I told him I would ask.
A Pharisee? Do you know this man?
He visited me before.
A Pharisee in the Red Quarter.
Rome sent him. I doubt he wanted to be there.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Well, I saw him again after I was better, and he wanted to know how I was healed. Of course, I didn't tell him who you were, but he seemed...
What?
earnest. He wasn't offended to learn that someone else had succeeded where he had failed. There's a hunger in his eyes, not fear.
Not like the Pharisees at the window yesterday, huh?
I am sorry to have brought all this on you.
No, no. Oh, there was a reason you met this Pharisee.
Nicodemus.
Nicodemus, of course. I've heard of him.
I don't know who is known and who is not. This is all new to me.
Don't worry about which men others think are important. Send word to Nicodemus. I will meet with him. Little James will know the location. Thank you, Mary.
Yes, teacher. Where are you going?
To be alone. I need to think, to pray.
I will pray also that I did not put you in terrible danger.
You have not. In fact, I have made plans already for tomorrow night.
Plans?
Yes, spread the word. A dinner party in the Northern District. A tall house just past the arch.
That row of homes.
I know the kind of people who live there. Trust me.
Okay, so Jesus is going off alone to pray. There is, in fact, there's some on the shelf behind me. There is a prayer book that Judaism uses, and Christianity, in some forms of Christianity, in the Catholic Church and in some more traditional forms of Christianity, have a book as well. One of them is called the Book of Common Prayer. But in Judaism, there is a book called the Siddur. And the Siddur, or prayer book, even though they're in different strains of Judaism, are different translations or poetic variations of these prayers. In more traditional strains of Judaism, the words are the same as they have been since the prayers were instituted. Some of the prayers were around even in and before the Second Temple period in the first century, at and before the time of Jesus. In fact, just as an aside, a couple of the prayers that are still very important in Judaism today, we know for a fact from Jewish history and tradition, were written by Simon Peter. And in one of the books in the Eitz Chaim Library in Amsterdam, my Rosh Yeshiva, the head of my Jewish seminary that I have studied under for the last 6 years, almost 7, there are books, first edition copies of books, where in Hebrew, Simon Peter is known as Rav, is known as Rabbi Shimon Kefa, Rabbi Simon Peter. And it is said that he has written lots of religious poems and prayers and songs, Anyway, the prayer book is kind of the order of service for the synagogue today. And it was like that in the temple as well. There are certain prayers that you pray, and there's kind of almost like a ramping up to the central prayer of Judaism, which is known as the Amidah, or standing prayer. And Jesus references this in the Bible, in the book of Matthew, where he says, when you stand to pray and you realize that your brother has something against you, and he says to go make it right, leave your offering and go make it right with your brother. It says when you are standing, or when you stand to pray. This is talking specifically about the Amidah, about the standing prayer in Judaism. And you still do it today, and you still stand during that prayer. Now, the reason I mention all of this is to say, so an important part of Judaism is corporate prayer with this prayer book, and everyone is saying the same things. It's a prescribed corporate prayer. But there's also very private prayer, and that's very important to Judaism. And in some forms of Judaism, like in Breslov Judaism, the followers of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, an important part of daily prayer is what's known as Hitbodedut. And Hitbodedut is a special, very intimate, one-on-one prayer with God that is not prescribed. It's just pouring your heart out to God, and it's done in, a lot of times, it's done outside. It doesn't have to be, but it is done in, I'm trying to think of the right word. I don't want to say isolation or seclusion, but I mean, it's done alone. You are one-on-one going out to pray, and Jesus does this a lot. There's a lot of this sort of private prayer, of this Hitbodedut, and so it's very at home in even modern forms of Judaism.
What are the others?
Matthew.
Hello, Ima.
And there we see here, this is what's known as the mezuzah. We mentioned this in a previous episode. There's a scroll in there from words from Deuteronomy. And as you can see, it's about at eye level on the right side as you enter the house, and the top is leaning in toward the direction of the house. That's still done today. I have them and in my home and in my place of business.
Elisheva, I mean. Hello.
Matthew.
I don't receive visitors myself. Is this a custom?
If your father were here, I couldn't do this.
Where is Alpheus?
I think a dog followed you.
He's with me. He'll stay out here if you let me in. Stay. Will Alpheus be home soon?
He's away on a work trip.
Where will work take him? Does he no longer make leather goods?
His shop was robbed. Many of the shops have been. Crime is rampant, makes it very difficult to reopen.
He loved his shop.
But we still have a roof over our heads, which is more than some people can say.
You can ask me for money if you ever need it.
How can you say that?
It's quite common. I've seen many parents entirely dependent on...
Your father would sooner die than take your blood money.
I know you are ashamed of me, but your decision is irrational. Rome will continue to collect taxes no matter what. I'm skilled with numbers.
Did you come here to justify yourself?
No! Everything's like sand in a flood. The things I thought I knew to be true.
Are you in trouble?
Do you think that impossible things can happen? That overturn the laws of nature? That cannot be explained?
That is what people asked when you were a boy. Even the rabbis were astonished at your talent for reading, math, the way you could think faster than any other child. They thought you would be someone great.
Great at what? I'm rich. I have an armed escort. I'm trusted by the praetor of
We
Galilee.
never dreamed you would use the talent God gave you to bleed your people dry.
But have you ever seen anything miraculous?
Not you.
My whole world. Everything I thought I knew. What if it's wrong?
I think you should go. You never even asked about your sister?
She looks well. I came to celebrate Shabbat a few weeks ago. Then I left. Goodbye, Emma.
No, I'm not sure this is a good idea.
Why not?
Oh, could be a trap. Nicodemus cooperates with Rome. They're the ones who sent him to Mary when she was possessed in the Red Quarter.
I'm well acquainted with risks, Simon. So are you, if I remember our first meeting correctly.
Risk is his oldest friend, I'm afraid.
Simon, Mary is an excellent judge of character. She has known some of the worst kinds of men in this world, and she finds him earnest. You should trust her instincts. And mine.
Rabbi, I've got it.
Let's take a look.
Can you keep her quiet, please? No one needs to know you're sick.
I can't tell her not to cough, Simon.
I just don't want our burdens to become his, okay? I don't want to be the one to distract him.
He's made up his mind about you. He's not going to kick you out of the group.
It's perfect. Well done. Well, I think I can fit all of you in here with me, huh?
You won't be recognized in that.
Has the owner of the house given permission?
It's all arranged, Rabbi. And I'll be waiting at the door.
Thank you, Andrew. You go on ahead, but remember to relax. You are there to guide our guest, not to be my protector.
Are you sure you don't want me to come? The more eyes watching the streets for trouble, the better.
Not tonight, Simon. Stay here with your wife and your mother-in-law.
You see?
That is why I love this show. Jesus walking out and touching the mezuzah and then kissing his fingers. That's what you do. It's awesome. It's a wonderful detail.
Welcome, Nicodemus.
Is magnificent in this show.
Don't be alarmed. He's waiting for you.
This is the centrality. This is the central thing of Christianity. This scene. John 3.
I asked the owner of this house for more lanterns, but he said they would draw attention.
Yes, I imagined they would.
The human eye is drawn to light. We can't help it. It just happens.
There are many things we are drawn to without our thinking or our ability to explain why. Thank you for agreeing to meet.
Thank you for trying to help Mary when you did.
It was no help.
You were meant to be there.
Me? So I could fail miserably at an exorcism in the Red Quarter?
If you had not been there that day, would you be on this roof tonight?
I don't know where to start. I have so many questions.
Shall we sit first?
Oh, yes, of course. The eastern slums. Many wandering preachers have succeeded in gathering crowds with their rhetoric and fiery tone.
I've heard a few of them over the years myself.
So you know the type. But I have never heard anyone tell a paralytic to get up and walk, much less it actually happened.
So what is your conclusion?
I believe you are not acting alone. No one can do these signs you do without having God in him. Only someone who has come from God.
And how is that belief going over in the synagogue? Which is why we are here at this hour. What else?
What have you come here to show us?
A kingdom.
That is what our rulers are worried about.
No, not that kind.
Then what?
A sort of kingdom that a person cannot see unless he is born again.
Born again?
Yes.
You mean like a new creature? A conversion from Gentile to Jewish?
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Then what is born again? I hope you don't mean return to the womb, because that would be a problem for me. My mother, may she rest in peace, is dead.
Truly, I say to you, unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God.
Now, I really appreciate, just to give a Jewish flavor to this, I really appreciate him saying a new creature, like from Gentile to Jewish, because that is what you say. The term born again is Jewish and was Jewish long before it was Christian. It's when you convert to Judaism and you come up out of the water, the last thing that you do in conversion is to be immersed. And as you come up out of the water, you're even given a new last name. You are now son of Abraham or daughter of Sarah. You have a new identity, and a convert is supposed to be looked at as just as Jewish as someone who was born Jewish. It's almost like now you are reborn and you are being born Jewish. You're being born anew, being born again. Now, born of water and the Spirit. This is very interesting because there are many things, including the incident of the giving of the law at Mount Sinai, which the rabbis will tell us that there's the water, the mayim. This is a word that starts with the letter mem. It's like an M in English, and the mayim, or the water, is also an allusion to the Messiah, because it starts with the same letter, and there's a connotation of water because of rebirth, and there are times when we talk about the water and the Spirit, the dwelling presence of God, the Shekhinah, the Shekinah, the Spirit, and the Mayim, the water, the Messiah, and it's all part of it. So this is, I think it really is more akin to like a conversion from Gentile to Jewish. It's more like that, this being born again.
That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. That part of you, that is what must be reborn to new life.
How can these things be?
A teacher of Israel, and yet you do not understand these things, huh?
I'm trying, Rabbi.
I know. I know. Do you hear this?
What?
Listen. What do you hear?
The wind?
How do you know it's the wind?
'Cause I can feel it. I hear it sound.
Do you know where it comes from?
No.
Do you know where it's going?
No.
That's what it is to be born again of the Spirit. The Spirit may work in a way that is a mystery to you. And while you cannot see the Spirit, you can recognize his effect.
Mind is consumed with thoughts of what a stir these words would cause among the teachers of the law.
Yes, and I do not expect otherwise. I speak of what I know and have seen, and it has not been received by the religious leaders.
It is hard to receive.
So if I have told you of earthly things, and you do not believe, how can I tell you heavenly things?
I believe your words. I just fear you may not have a chance to speak many more of them before you are silenced.
I have come to do more than speak words, Nicodemus.
More miracles.
Yes, but even more than that. Do you remember when the children of Israel complained against God and against Moses in the wilderness of Paran?
Yes. They wanted to return to Egypt, and they cursed the manna that God sent them.
And then?
They were bitten by serpents, and they were dying.
But
God made a way for them to be healed.
Moses lifted the bronze serpent in the desert, and people only needed to look at it. So will the Son of Man be lifted up, so that whoever believes in him may have eternal life.
Our people are not dying from snake bites. They're dying from taxation and oppression.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I did not come to deliver the people from Rome.
Then from what?
From sin. From spiritual death. God loves the world in this way, that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life.
So this has nothing to do with Rome. It's all about sin.
God did not send his Son into the world to condemn it, Nicodemus. He sent him to save it through him. It's as simple as Moses' serpent on the pole. Whoever believes in him will not be condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already. Have you ever heard anything like this before?
When I met Lilith, Mary, that day, I told my wife and my students she was beyond human aid. Only God could have healed her. And then I saw her healed. And here you are, the healer. My whole life I have wondered if I would see this day.
Follow me, and you'll see more.
Follow you?
Join me and my students. In 2 days' time, we leave Capernaum. Come see the kingdom I am bringing into this world.
But I can't.
You have a position in the Sanhedrin. You have family. You are getting advanced in years. I understand. But the invitation is still open.
The invitation to what exactly? To lead a nomadic life, to give up who I am.
It's true. There is a lot you would give up. But what you would gain is far greater and more lasting.
Is this another one of your born-again mysteries?
Maybe.
I know mysteries aren't easy for a scholar. Think about it. Take your time. On the morning of the 5th day, we leave, and we'll meet by the well in the southern quarter at dawn. Is the kingdom of God really coming? What does your heart tell you? My heart is swollen with fear and wonder. It can tell me nothing except that I am standing on holy ground. Holy Reuben. I do hope you come with us, Nicodemus. You don't have to do that. What are you doing? Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish in the way. Blessed are all who take refuge in him.
You see the Parthian foot races last night? Darius ran like a gazelle.
Jews don't go to foot races.
Your old friend Simon himself used to run the wagering tables.
We're not friends. Next.
Okay, fine. So you did not go to the races? You stay home?
I went to see my mother.
That would put me out, too. She asked when you're going to give her grandchildren?
She didn't ask.
I thought your parents don't speak to you.
I had questions I couldn't ask anyone else.
The mother of a son with talent like yours should be proud.
She's ashamed that I could use the talent that God gave me against God. Next.
You're good at something. You found a way to make a living doing it. It's that simple.
Must be nice to live in a world so simply ordered.
We live in the same world, Matthew.
Next.
Besides, what else are you going to do with a mind like yours?
Matthew. Matthew, son of Alphaeus.
Yes.
Follow me.
Me?
Yes, you.
Whoa. What are you doing? You want me to join you?
Keep moving, street preacher.
Do you have any idea what this guy has done? Do you even know him?
Yes.
Listen, I said to... What are you doing? Where do you think you're going?
Guys, let me go.
Have you lost your mind? You have money. Quintus protects you. No Jew lives as good as you. You're gonna throw it all away.
Yes.
I don't get it.
You didn't get it when I chose you either.
But this is different. I'm not a tax collector.
Get used to different. I'm glad we passed by your booth today, Matthew.
Yes.
Shall we? We have a celebration to prepare for.
You will regret this, Matthew.
What's the tablet for? I grabbed it without thinking. You can put it back.
No, keep it. You may yet find use for it.
Where are we going?
A dinner party.
I'm not welcome at dinner parties.
Well, that's not going to be a problem tonight. You're the host.
So good. Ah, get used to different. There it is. Okay. There's lots more I could say, but we'll save it for another time. Thank you for watching, and keep asking questions.